You only truly find out what you're made of when the forest decides you're going to face death alone. And this isn't some poetic metaphor about resilience. It's literal. It's that moment when your body starts to shake, your instincts lock up, and everything you were promised about safety and preparation disappears. Because out there, in the most absolute silence that exists, the silence of the deep woods, you realize that nature doesn't care about you. It just swallows you whole. And when that happens, no one hears you scream. Today you're going to understand why so many people set out on a simple trail and never come back. It's not bad luck. It's not a myth. It's negligence, overconfidence. That one small decision that seemed harmless until it puts you face to face with something you can't explain. This isn't just another survival story. It's a warning disguised as a tale, a real account meant to teach you something, to make you feel something, and maybe, just maybe, to stop you from making the same fatal mistakes. Because yes, there are mistakes that don't come with second chances. Lucas was an ordinary guy, office worker, gym 3 times a week, weekends in nature to escape the city noise. Nothing extreme, no survivalist training, just light hikes. The kind of trip anyone takes with a backpack and a GPS app in their pocket. That morning, he decided to try a new trail, something barely mentioned on a hiking forum, with scenic views enlisted as intermediate difficulty. He packed snacks, water, a pocket knife, and a power bank. It seemed like enough, but it wasn't. The first few miles were easy. The woods were dense, but the trail was clear. Sunlight filtered through the tall trees, and the forest's silence felt almost comforting. But as the hours passed, his GPS signal began to flicker. He stopped, checked his compass. Everything looked normal, until he hit an unmapped fork in the trail. To the left, a faded dirt path. To the right, a narrower trail, still used but overgrown. He went right. That was the moment everything began to change. The forest got wetter, darker, like time moved differently there. The smell shifted, from earth to rot, trapped humidity, old mold. And the silence changed. It wasn't the natural stillness of the woods anymore. It was an aggressive void. No bugs, no birds, nothing. As if he'd stepped into a bubble where sound couldn't pass. The GPS froze. The power bank wouldn't respond. The digital compass spun without direction. Lucas was officially lost. What he didn't know yet was that he wasn't alone. The first snap behind him was subtle. He stopped. Silence. He walked a few more steps, another crack, closer. It wasn't a branch falling. It was something or someone stepping through dry brush, and he tried to stay calm, took a deep breath, tried to retrace his steps, but there were no steps to retrace. The forest had closed behind him. Landmarks, trail markers, gone. He looked up, hoping to follow the sun, but the canopy was too dense. It was like the forest had changed its shape. Late in the afternoon, as despair began to take physical form, his breathing uneven, cold sweat, muscles clenched, Lucas saw a clearing with smoke rising gently in the distance. He ran toward it like it was his only chance, and for a moment he thought he was saved. In the clearing, a small extinguished campfire with glowing embers still alive. 2 backpacks tossed aside, a damp, stained blanket, and a portable recorder. Still on, playing in a loop, the sound of deep, labored breathing, as if someone had left it there on purpose. There in the middle of a forest he no longer recognized, Lucas knew something was wrong. It wasn't just that he was lost, it was the presence of someone, or something, that was watching. The air was heavy, pressure building in his chest. The fire looked recently abandoned, but there was no one around. No footprints, no path out, just silence. And the endless loop of that recorder. Who left it there? Why? And why did he feel he couldn't stay, but couldn't leave either? Night fell like a curtain of stone. Cold, wet, suffocating. Lucas didn't sleep. He sat with his back against a tree, clutching the pocket knife like a shield. The forest felt alive. Branches moved without wind. Footsteps echoed nearby. Whispers called his name, even though he had never said it aloud in that place. Time collapsed. For the first time, he felt he might not make it out, that he'd become one of those stories that starts just like this, a so-called intermediate trail. And one tiny mistake too small to be fatal, until it is. But the morning came, and with it, a group of hikers lost from their original path wandered into his location by mistake. They found Lucas, weak, dehydrated, shaking. He was brought back to the ranger station, but when authorities returned to the clearing with the fire, nothing. No backpacks, no blanket, no sign of the recorder. Just an empty patch of dirt as if none of it ever existed. But he remembers. The smoke, the heat of the embers, the sound of that breath. It was real. And whatever found him out there, it's still there. If this woke something up in you, leave a comment below. If you've ever felt something watching you deep in the woods, write, "I'm still here." Because sometimes only those who've seen the darkness up close truly understand the value of finding a way out. There's something no one tells you about getting lost in the forest. The real fear isn't dying. It's realizing that no one's coming for you. And when that hits, all you have left is your own breathing, getting shorter by the second, your heartbeat pounding out of rhythm, and that brutal clarity that, no matter how loud you scream, help isn't coming. Because when rescue doesn't show up, all you have left are your own screams, and sometimes not even that, because even your voice in there begins to disappear. What you're about to hear isn't just a story, it's a warning. A real account of how panic sets in, slowly like a fever you try to ignore, until it takes everything. A survival experience where every second was a fight against his body, the terrain, and something that might not have even been human. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to prepare you, because the difference between making it home and becoming a forgotten headline might lie in the details you never thought mattered. After staying awake all night, surrounded by unnatural sounds and a mind slipping out of time, Lucas knew he couldn't stay there. The sun hadn't fully risen, but there was just enough light to see. Wet leaves, broken branches forming strange patterns, tracks, barefoot, uneven. He avoided looking directly at them, as if acknowledging them would make them real. With a limp, he pressed on, leaning on trees, dragging himself forward, searching for anything. A clue, a sign, a place to hide from whatever was sharing that forest with him. And then it happened. A sharp sound behind him. Not loud, not threatening, just intentional. Like someone wanted to be heard. Lucas turned, knife in hand. But there was nothing. Or rather, Nothing he could see. So he ran, in pain, in fear, in blind panic, tripping over roots, smashing into trees until he tried to climb a wet rock for a better view, and slipped. The fall wasn't far, but it was enough. A snap. His ankle, the pain was instant. A muffled cry, swallowed by the watching woods. That's when he realized the physical forest was only part of the danger. The real enemy now was his body, immobilized leg, lungs tightening, panic overwhelming everything, tangible, suffocating, real. He dragged himself to a thick tree, collapsed, shaking. His face was caked in sweat and dirt, and in the silence that returned, he knew he had lost everything: direction, communication, strength. The only sound was his own heartbeat, pounding too loud, as if his entire body was warning. This is it. And then came the worst part. A presence, invisible, undeniable. That feeling your brain registers before your eyes can confirm. Something, or someone, was getting closer. Slowly, not like an animal, too steady, too purposeful, like it already knew where he was, like it wanted to be felt before it was seen. Lucas gripped the knife tighter, but he knew. In that state, he couldn't run, couldn't fight, only wait. Cold overtook him, and for a moment he thought about letting go, closing his eyes, accepting it. But he didn't. Because something inside him, maybe his daughter's voice, saved in a recording on his phone, maybe a memory of home, sparked. A flare. He began making noise, banging rocks, scraping the knife against bark, anything to say, "I'm still here." And for some reason he never understood, the presence backed off, or vanished, or hid again. Whatever it was, he survived. A few hours later, a group of hikers who'd gotten off trail found him. And here's the part that still sends chills. They said that when they first saw Lucas, he was staring, unmoving, at a tree, but when they turned to look, there was nothing there. Lucas was rescued, but he still can't sleep well. And he refuses to hike any trail that leads into deep woods, not because he's afraid of the forest, but because somewhere out there, something recognized him, came close, and might still be waiting for someone else who doesn't know what they're walking into. If any of this made sense to you, comment below. I'm still here. Because only those who felt the ground vanish beneath their feet know what it really means to survive.